Hey everyone, welcome back to the Profitable Products launch. Today we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ryan Moran. That's a lot of pressure, huh?
I'll take it.
Today we're going to be doing some Q&A to catch up with you, see where you're at in your process. If you have any questions that you want to put on the table, this is the chance to talk it through. So, Guy, you have the floor.
Yeah, hey guys, it's great to be with you. I've been really looking forward to this, and here's why. We're at the midway point for the content that we have had planned for you. So we basically, when we put together this test group, what we wanted to do was we had a series of lessons, topics, and strategies that we knew were super important to cover, and that's what we have planned for you. And so there's a couple things here. One, we would like some feedback on what you're experimenting with and what's working for you, so that we can go deeper into those topics, and we can kind of clean up some messes, because we know we've gone over this strategy and this strategy and this strategy. While at the same time, we also want to get some feedback over, are there other areas that might be helpful to add to the mix of the courses of the course. So we're at the midway point of what we like, that structured planned content and the guests that we want to bring on. And so I just wanted to listen and both help clean up the areas where we could offer some guidance, so that we can create those systems and also expand the content from here. So I would like to know from you, if you've got questions based on the strategies and the things that you've been learning in the training, please post them in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and take them. We can also just take you off mute, and we can workshop with you. The other thing I want to know is, I want to listen to hear about what could be different or better, so that we know how to structure the rest of this training. Jeremy beat me to it, but there's been quite a few people saying that they want some way to work with other people in the group, like a Facebook group. And so, I apologize for not communicating this more clearly at the beginning. We will totally endorse any Facebook group that you guys want to put together. What we want to avoid is our team going into the Facebook group and leaving the trainings there. We want to have the trainings outside the Facebook group. So if somebody on the team, what I think would be best is if there were groups of 4 or 5 of you that put together your own groups and made them accountability groups. And we totally will encourage that. We want to protect our team from getting sucked into doing Q&A on Facebook, because we want to have it public in these types of settings, because things tend to get lost in Facebook groups. So if you guys want to put something together, we will totally endorse that. We are listening. If there is something that you want to have to put that together, we made the decision to not lead and organize a Facebook group in favor of doing it on Zoom, where we could do it recorded and do it like this instead. So we will totally endorse whatever you guys would like to do. If somebody wants to take lead on that, or if you want to start your own 5-person groups, we'll totally endorse that. We'll even mail it to the rest of the test group if you'd like. So I would like your questions, and I would like your feedback at this point. I want to hear what questions you have up until this point. I want to hear what's working well for you. So I'm going to put it on all of you. What have you tried up until this point? What strategies have you started experimenting with up until this point? And what type of results are you getting? And then what question do you have based on that? So that's part 1. And part 2, I want to hear your feedback on the overall sticking points or challenges where we could be taking the conversation to this point. All right. Question: how can I funnel my audiences from Facebook straight to my ManyChat list? So unfortunately, this is a great question, and Tyler's going to be leading a session next week, I believe, specifically on ManyChat. But I will give you a heads up. We're loving ManyChat right now. We're back up the Brinks truck. Get a loan. Get ready for ManyChat. It's, I think, the greatest white space on the internet right now. We're doing a lot of tests, and it needs to be played very delicately, because it's Facebook is very intimate, and so it's got to be, like we talked about with George last week, there need to be a lot of give touch points before you ask for anything. Okay, so the question, can we funnel Facebook groups to ManyChat? Not exactly. If you've already got them in a Facebook group, there is not a way to take them from a group and put them onto ManyChat. If you have not yet added them to the group, there are some ninja ways that you can get them to opt in for a ManyChat list before they join the group. Tyler will be sharing some of that next week, but what I would encourage you to think about is you can just post in the group. Gary Vee does this really well. By the way, I had dinner with Gary Vee 2 nights ago. I don't know if you heard. It was pretty great. But what you can do is you can post in the group, and Gary Vee calls this the first in line list. So you can just model what he's doing here. In the group itself, post, we're doing this, and post why it's important, and then link straight over to Messenger to get them to open up the Messenger screen. And when they interact with that screen, that's how they'll get added to your ManyChat list. So it's not like you can just pull from one and put into the other, but you can get them to opt in so that you have that communication point. And then you can start loving on them like George talked about last week. And then later you can do some permission-based marketing in order to get them to buy your product even ahead of time. So that's how we would manage taking them from one medium to another medium. Renato's getting 100 leads a day on ManyChat. Woo! That is awesome. Let's give some hashtags. Let's get some hashtags applause there. Okay, question. You mentioned that we can rent email lists. What services have you used or do you recommend? There are a lot of scammers. What I would recommend is getting an email list broker. The one that I'm familiar with is Macromark. M-A-C-R-O-M-A-R-K. Macromark. I believe it's macromark.com. They have brokers who will go out and rent email lists. There's also, I believe it's dedicatedemails.com. I think, forgive me. So, but that is that's the term. It's called dedicated emails. So if you search for dedicated email services, dedicated email brokers, dedicated email lists, if you search for those, a lot of feedback will come up on different brokers that you could work with. You're looking for niche-specific dedicated email drops. What that means is if you're in fitness and you sell fitness gear, you want to be doing dedicated email drops to other fitness-related lists, preferably buyers lists. That's how you can, and remember the goal is to extract that list onto your own. So you'll be sending that traffic to another opt-in page where you can be bringing them over and building up that audience. So that's the language and the strategy behind dedicated emails. Another thing you could do is just post in some marketing groups that you might be in on Facebook and ask for recommendations for dedicated email list brokers. That would be the vernacular to use. Do you suggest any call to action for the post? Meaning the Facebook post. The call to action is to get on the ManyChat list. That's the call to action. Jeremy asks, building a huge audience. Oh, great. Jeremy says he's building a huge audience with Facebook ads and Instagram. John was fantastic. By John, do you mean George? No.
John Tarr.
Oh, John Tarr. Okay. Yeah, I was with John Tarr yesterday, actually. I was flying back from my dinner with Gary Vee. I don't know if I told you. I got back and saw John. Okay, Mercedes, how can I start building the email list? So you start building your email list with your squeeze page, driving Facebook traffic to the squeeze page, connecting with influencers, and to rent email lists. You have your give. You build the email list with the give by advertising on Facebook. You use the email list to follow up with those opt-ins. I wanted to, oh, good. Thank you, Frank, for the recommendation on dedicated emails. I wanted to go over one piece. I'm actually going to do a video for you guys on something that I was teaching my Next Millionaires group, which is a brand new getting started group. And it was a bonus I did for the Buying Amazing Selling Machine. I'll go over that. Actually, let's just go into it now. I'm going to do a full video about this. But one of the things that I talked about that it just landed really well with them, so I wanted to share it with you. If you're going to do a product launch and you want it to be profitable and successful out of the gate, there's a couple of metrics that you should be looking for, like minimum metrics. And I put this, I'm kind of updating my 12 months to 1 million strategy, which is, partly what I'm famous for. The minimum, I'm updating that stage 1 grind to not just be about reviews anymore. I'm putting audience into it. And my minimum viable audience, if you will, looks like this. 500 raving ass fans. Raving ass fans is a technical term for a person who notices you every time you put out content. Now, how do you build up 500 raving ass fans? You reply to every comment. You engage with every person until there are 500 people who respond to you. All right, so that might be 500 responsive people in a Facebook group. That might be 500 people who watch a video. It might be 500 people who follow your Facebook page as the result of ads and the result of content you're putting out there. 500 people with the expectation that 100 of them are going to buy on launch day. So that might be 500 email subscribers or email opens with the expectation that 100 of them are super active. So maybe I should call it 100 raving ass fans and 500 fans. That would probably be more appropriate for me to call it. So that's your minimum viable audience that you are like, that's a grind. It's a grind to get those people and have 100 of them responding. But if you do it and you have 100 people who are responding to you, 100 sales is enough to move the needle. That's part 1. Part 2 is 10. And again, I'm teaching this to people who are just getting started. Like they don't know what their product is yet. They've never released a product. So the second part, after we have the 500 fans, part 2 is no less than 10 personal contacts who are sharing your product or message. So an example of this would be our former tribe director, Marusha Murphy, released a coffee line called Perky Perky. I was a personal contact, and she asked me to talk about it publicly on Facebook, and I was happy to do it. I was really excited to support her, right? And I have a little bit of a following, so that was really great for her. She got some PR out of that, if you will. Now, in an ideal world, who you want your personal contacts to be are people who represent your ideal customer. So for example, if you're in yoga and you go to your yoga studio to do your practice, you have 10 friends who are probably posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, just learned a new move, I'm really making progress here. So they have other people within their sphere of influence who are also into yoga if they're actively practicing. So this is not a personal contact being your grandmother who thinks yoga is of the devil, right? You like other people who represent your target audience that are personal contacts. Now, they don't need to be your best friends. This is just people who are your target audience that will talk about you publicly. So 10 personal contacts who are excited about your product that you could in a world text them and be like, hey, my yoga mat just went live on Facebook. Would you mind taking a picture of the one that I gave you and post it on Facebook? It would really help me out on launch day. So James Swanwick just did this with me with his new model of of Swanee Sleep sunglasses. And I'm going to post on Facebook later today that I'm excited about his new stuff, because I am. And he's just a personal friend, right? And he sent me some free glasses. And I'm more than happy to take a picture of it and post it on Instagram, right? Okay, so number one, 500 public fans, 100 raving ass fans, 10 personal contacts, and 1 influencer. 1 influencer with at least 10,000 followers. Blog readers, email list, YouTube subscribers, Instagram followers. There's a lot of people with 10,000 Instagram followers. You don't need to go get Joe Rogan. Like, you don't need to go get Gary Vee. I just had dinner with him 2 nights ago. I don't know if you heard. You don't need to go get Alyssa Milano. Does anybody even know who she is anymore? Like, you don't need to go get big celebrities with millions of followers. You need to go get the 1 person with 10,000 followers that's actively sharing about the space. And the way you get them is by reaching out to them directly and offering to send them, saying, I'm a fan of your work. We do this. I'd love to send you one just as a thank you. And people with 10, like, for example, I accept gifts from my fans. Like, if you watched Wine with Wyan this week, I featured 2 products that people had sent me, 3 products that people had sent me. All right, in the video, it's like, hey, got this in the mail from someone, got this in the mail, all right? So, like, I will do it, and I have more than 10,000 like people who follow me. So if you're going for the influencer who has 10,000 Instagram followers or 10,000 YouTube subscribers, reaching out to them and offering to share their content, offering to bring them in front of your audience, offering to do something for them and sending them something of your product, getting 1 influencer with 10,000 fans is totally within the realm of what's possible. Everyone should be doing that. So just to recap, like, your minimum viable launch, 500 people with 100 raving ass fans, 10 personal contacts, 1 influencer. That in place is going to be, with whatever strategy that you are following within the realm of this training, that'll be enough to do damage. Meaning, come out of the gate with a profitable launch where you do not need to do giveaways, you don't need to do big discounts. It'll be enough to move the needle and to get things moving really, really quickly. Tyler, I ranted there for a while and I missed some questions. Would you fire one at me?
Yep. Well, Katie asked if you have any good resources for copywriters that can help convert the email list. She said she did a small test, gathered 1,000 people on the list, and converted 3 of them for around a $75 product. So she basically needs help with copy.
Yeah, fantastic question. First of all, I'm going to give this is real applause, but I want to give hashtags to Katie for building up a 1,000-person email list. That's fantastic. In fact, they're already running promotions and got some conversions is a really good sign. And you're absolutely right. What needs to be dialed in now is either the messaging or the connection with those email subscribers. The higher the connection, the better the conversion. So one of those 2 things needs to be dialed in. You could increase conversion by sending content. You could increase connection by just emailing them more often and taking the most responsive people and opening up a customer service loop with them. For example, one thing that you can do when you're small is send out emails and ask them to just reply to the email and open up a customer service loop. That'll keep it busy for a while, but it also will increase your connection and your engagement to get those 100 raving ass fans. As far as the specific question of finding copywriters, there's a great Facebook group called The Cult of Copy. And that's a place where a bunch of copywriters are hanging out and you can post jobs. And you'll get hounded with people. So you should be very, very specific. your specific post should be, I'm looking for an email writer that can write in this style in this space. I'm looking for a health and fitness copywriter who writes launch emails, and that will be specific enough to be able to filter out a bunch of people, because you'll get hounded with applications where you're like, I'm looking for a copywriter. Who do you guys recommend? There's 10,000 people in that Facebook group. But if you post, I'm looking for an email copywriter who can do launch emails in the health and fitness space to a small audience that buys physical products, that's a specific copywriter. And that's who you should be looking for these types of emails. But it's called the cult of copy.
Nice. So Yaya asks, what stats can we expect when we're renting an email list? So if you buy 10,000 emails, are you expecting like a 2% open rate, or do you know?
They should give you that data before you rent it. They should give you the data of past lists that, or past times that it's been mailed, what the open rates were, what the clicks were. And every list is going to be different, but they should provide that for you.
Nice. Jeremy wants to know who you went to dinner with the other night.
Lewis Howes and Jay Shetty.
Okay, so Dor says he has 2,200 followers on his brand's Facebook page, and he's not sure how to get them into a new Facebook group. The group is for parents. It's not specifically about the brand, but about parenting. But it's hard for him to communicate his ideas as a group leader because he's targeting young mothers. So he's struggling with the messaging and running the group.
Yeah, so Dor, if you could be more specific with your question, I'd be happy to help. So what's the specific nut that you're trying to crack?
Renato, do you recommend establishing the touch points through the Facebook group or straight inside of ManyChat?
What do you mean by the touch points? Do you know, Tyler?
George Bryant was talking about how a touch point is like whenever somebody interacts with your brand in some way.
Yeah. So both. Yes. So if someone sees it and interacts with it, that's a touch point. I mean, you can get the most direct and expedient touch points via ManyChat, but ManyChat is also very, very intimate because you're sending people Facebook messages. So you don't want to burn your touch point. You save those for the really good, intimate, juicy stuff. Like we use ManyChat to send out Wine with Wyan because I'm literally interacting with people live. But we would not use that for like, hey, go check out this blog post. We might ask a question like, hey, I just wrote a blog post I'm really proud of. Do you want a link? Do you want me to send it to you? We might ask for permission to do that. But we're not like blasting everybody with a mass email every time that we have something live on ManyChat. So the answer is yes, on your public page and in ManyChat. But a touch point can be a video view. It could be a comment. It could be then they like one of your posts. So it's all of those things. It's probably more frequent on the page inside of the post that you're doing and less frequent inside of ManyChat.
Nice. Yaya says they had a YouTube reviewer that did an unbox/review for one of their products. She had more than 100,000 followers. The video got more than 1,500 views, but they got 0 sales from it. I think Yaya is a woman, is dying to know what they did wrong. How do you make YouTube reviews like this work?
Well, 1,500 views isn't that great. 100,000 subscribers, only 1,500 views would surprise me. You didn't do anything wrong. They might be the wrong audience. They might not have a true connection with their followers. So the messaging might have been off or the person might have been off, but you didn't do anything wrong. Except maybe your expectations were that it was going to be this big home run success. These are things that are stacked on top of one another. Like if your goal here was to get like you did your job of getting that one influencer to talk about your product. And now you have the ability to go take that video and share it with your fans, or put it on your brand Facebook page. These are all things that create that snowball effect. The mistake, or what you might have done wrong, was expecting it to completely change your business. It's a piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's a step in the right direction, but influencers are not the magic cure-all for things. They're a step in the direction. They're a piece of the overall picture. So you didn't do anything wrong. Great work. Do more of that, as long as the audience is clear and you have a way to stay engaged with them. I think maybe one of the other mistakes that might be in place is that you expected people to buy on one touch point, rather than having a way to integrate that into your overall marketing strategy by having the influencer recommend your Facebook page, or using that momentum in another sphere. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. You could have them send to an email list or to a Facebook group, doing an engagement with the influencer themselves. You have a follow-up with them, have the influencer do a second, not unboxing, but a second follow-up video about how they're using the product and how their opinion has changed on the product since they last opened it. That would be, a second touch point that you're doing through the influencer. But just asking an influencer with 1,500 views on a video for that to be an impactful movement on your business is a little bit of an over expectation.
Okay. Didecito. I'm not sure I understand this question, Ryan. Maybe you will. If not, he may have to retype it. If one is boosting a current product for 12 months plus, is this 500, 100, and one influencer still enough? So talking about the 500 fans, 100.
Yeah. So if a product's been around for more than 12 months, so I'd say the 12-10-1 rule, or what I call it, the 500, the 100, we'll just call it the 110-1. Jeremy's giving me, Jeremy likes that name. All right. The 110-1 is, that's a minimum viable audience to promote a product specifically in a launch sequence. So yes, you can do launches to old products. Absolutely. That, if you don't think about your product as old, if you think of it new, it's new to new people. So it's the same thing for a product that's been around, but this is specifically for launch results. 100 fans, 10 contacts, 1 influencer in a launch sequence. That's where that applies. It has less to do with the product and more to do with the promotion. That's the minimal viable audience to have a profitable promotion for a product.
Cool. Katie says, super awesome feedback. Thank you. Door just did a relaunch to get sales velocity to improve rank of an existing product on Amazon. It completely failed. Never needed this program more. Jeremy says, I have 20,000 likes on my Facebook and Instagram ads with my posts over 1 month centering around health and fitness. His business partner has an email list of 7,000. Walk me through what's next. Sending them to a landing page with a countdown to the product launch, ? Developing relationships with influencers, currently mostly on Instagram.
One thing, Jeremy. Focus on whatever one thing is going to move the needle immediately. My brain would go to, all right, your business partner has 7,000 followers or 7,000 emails. Run the 4-part sequence to them directly to the product. That'll give you movement out of the gate. You've got 20,000 followers on Facebook. Awesome. So are they engaged into a launch sequence? Bring them into a group or bring them into ManyChat using the strategies that we go over next week. So your low-hanging fruit is sending email to promotion, email to launch. That's your low-hanging. You could run the 4-part sequence now, right? Another strategy that I like to deploy, I mentioned this earlier, is did we talk about the opening customer loops via email in our chat, where one of the things that we'll like to do is we'll create systems for follow-ups, and we'll say like, hey, we're launching a such and such product. Do you want it? Reply to this email, and then we'll have like the customer service be like, hey, just like want to make sure this is a fit for you. This is for health and fitness enthusiasts. We're doing this as a way to get feedback. Are you willing to give us feedback? They'll say yes again, and then we'll send them to our product. So that's a way we can start getting sales via email. So if my low-hanging fruit would be send the 4-part sequence to the list for your product, and then develop a strategy to use social and Facebook over the long term, which is probably going to be either from groups or from ManyChat. And that's where you'll start refining things according to the strategies that John talked about, the strategies that George talked about on that Facebook page. Jeremy's given me nods, so I was going to say, did I answer the question? And he's already given me nods.
Great feedback, Jeremy. I'm not sure I understand Mercedes' next question. Last time you mentioned solo ads when you talked about building the email list. What is that program for?
Solo ads are another way to talk about dedicated emails. Same language.
Okay. Julie, the 4-part email sequence session was awesome. Thank you. I know a lot of time is spent with George and influencers, but what is the best way to successfully reach an influencer? I have Facebook messaged with a video.
If you read this whole question, we're going to be here for hours.
Yes. Tried messaging an influencer with a video, doesn't seem to get a response. How would you reach out to influencers?
Well, if you're reaching if you expect every single person to get back to you, you are expecting too much. But here's the direct way to answer the question. Always go for the easiest yes possible. What's the way that someone will very easily say yes to you? My recommendation is usually, can we share your content on our page? We really liked this video. Or, hey, we noticed you're really close to 10,000 fans. We'd like to do a little campaign for you to push over the edge. We run Facebook ads to our product. We'll connect it to, what's the give? That's an easy way for them to say yes. And then the second one is going to be, hey, it was, I really am a fan of your stuff. Would it be okay if we sent you a unit of our product? That's a second easy yes. Third easy yes can be whatever you would like. But get them to say yes on something very small, and then do it again. Both of them gives. And the third one could be a collaboration or a share or asking for feedback. But this is relationship building. You don't ask for a hand in marriage before going on a date. This is relationships. These are people, not strategies. So establish the relationship with the influencer. And when you ask somebody on a date, not everyone's going to say yes. So what's the best way to reach an influencer is like saying, what's the best way to ask a girl on a date? I mean, we could sit here and talk about it, but most of the time it's like getting to know someone and then asking them out. Same thing with an influencer. Get to know them, create an offer, give it to them, build a relationship, and then one day you might be able to ask for marriage.
Nice. Renato's focusing 100% on building audience inside of ManyChat.
Good.
The question is, do you see a problem with writing the 4-part email sequence just inside of ManyChat, or should we filter the people from ManyChat to the email list?
Yeah, so that's a great question. If you're going to follow the 4-part email sequence as it is currently outlined, long emails, bonus offer, with scarcity, you want to do that in email. You don't want to do it in ManyChat. And the reason is because ManyChat's very intimate, and it's very if you send a long ass email to someone via ManyChat, they're going to unsubscribe because no one likes to get long Facebook messages. That's not what you're there for. On the other hand, you could run a similar strategy. In full disclosure, we have not I don't have a process for you on this yet to be like, this is exactly what to do. We don't have that yet. That data, haven't refined it perfectly enough. But what I would offer is to get permission-based marketing from your ManyChat list. So that would be something like, hey, so-and-so, tell one sentence story. Hey, so-and-so, my daughter just graduated college, so we're doing a discount to celebrate. Do you want information about it? It's cool if not. And you give them the answer to say yes or no. If they say no, you're like, cool, just wanted to make sure I had your permission. Won't bug you anymore with this. If they say yes, then the response is, awesome. Well, here's the scoop. We've got 500 discounts available because my daughter's graduating from college and I wanted to celebrate in some way. This product XY, does XYZ. Do you want a link to get it at the discount? Yes or no? They click yes. Sweet. Here's a link to get it on Amazon. And you can do the 4-part-ish follow-up sequence in that way. But only do it after you have their permission on ManyChat. Otherwise, we're going to get less than ideal results. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Jeremy is my man today. Jeremy, you're the GOAT today. That means greatest of all time.
D. DeSisto asked if anyone has used Thomason for reviews.
Wow, we're going back to 2016 on that one.
So that's a not anymore.
I haven't used Thomason in years.
Okay. Dora got back to us about the Facebook group. What do I tell them in the Facebook page to move them to the Facebook group? The group is not about the brand, shouldn't be directly connected to it. And also, he can't be a group leader to young mothers. Was wondering how to run it. Pay someone to lead the group.
Why can't you be a leader to young mothers? I'm calling BS on your statement. But here's what you would do. You make the offer about the product, and you say, hey, young moms, wanted to give you a heads up that everyone in this group gets first in line access to such and such a product. I just need you to send me a message on Facebook in order to get yours. Here's the link to do it. They click it, it opens up ManyChat. You start them there. That's how you pull them from Facebook to ManyChat.
Lindsay Hoyt asks if you recommend using super URLs when trying to convert via email or Facebook.
Absolutely, 100% of the time.
Nice. Julie, we will be launching our first product soon, asking if they want a free sample of our game, but no responses. Sending them a video. That was not a question.
Read it one more time.
We will be launching our first product soon, asking if they want a free sample of our game, but no response. Sending them a video.
So what's the question?
There is no question.
Okay, got it. I'll be here if you need me.
Jeremy, what's the best approach to a new product launch regarding reviews? Say something, nothing, or what? He doesn't want to do incentivized reviews, and he's nervous about how Amazon is swinging their large bet.
I don't understand. Best approach to a new product launch regarding reviews. I don't understand. By the way, this is totally cool. If this is what y'all want out of today, to go through like just general Q&A, I'm totally happy to honor that. But I would also, I want to hear like, what have you tried from the training? Like, what have you been doing? Like, I want to hear from you the results that you are getting as well. So, like, give me that feedback. Like, are you running 4-part email series to email lists? Are you using the social media strategies? Are you building Facebook groups? Like, this is just as important. Like, are you going through the process? And if not, I want to hear what steps need to be bridged in this training so that you start getting them. Because it's cool for us to mentally masturbate about different ideas about how you could launch products, right? But if you're not doing it, what's the freaking point? And then we just won't continue doing this as an ongoing training. So I want to hear, what are those, like, are there things stopping you from actually doing it?
Seth says, I feel like this program has been more of a 4-part series about marketing techniques. Is there going to be an actual roadmap or step-by-step strategy we can use to start implementing some of these techniques, and in what order?
So Seth, that's great feedback. And I would like to know what's missing in order to feel like you have that. So in each kind of session, like a 4-part email series, is there something missing from that to make it not step-by-step? Is there something missing from the Facebook strategy to make it not actionable? Because if so, we can talk about putting something like that together. There is no one way to launch products. This is getting the audience, delivering your product to the hungry audience. And when you do those two things, you have a profitable launch without doing giveaways, without doing major discounts. Now, for your brand, it's going to be different where your audience hangs out. You're going to have different influencers. You're going to have different nuances. So if there's something that will make it more actionable for you, that's the type of feedback I would really like from
you. Jeremy asks, he's giving some more insight to his question before. How do we talk about leaving a review for our product? So basically, how do you ask your audience to leave a review?
So one of the things we like to do is we will ask for feedback delivered to us directly. So not a review. Hey, will you send us an email and give us some feedback? And then if it's positive, then we'll follow up with them and send them over to Amazon. Hey, it's so great. Would you feel so inclined as to post this on Amazon directly as a review? So get the feedback, capture it, then follow up with them and send them to Amazon.
Nice. Frank, where can I find instructions, etc., on how to get ManyChat installed? For a while, Facebook had it on lockdown.
Tyler, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yeah. So if you go on YouTube.com and type in how to install.
YouTube.net.
Not net or org. It's YouTube.com. That's com. YouTube.com, and you type in how to install ManyChat on my Facebook page. It's really simple. I mean, you can go find a 3 or 4 minute video and it'll walk you right through it. It's super simple, and it's no longer being locked down by Facebook, so you can go ahead and get it installed. Yaya tried contacting email companies to send the 4 emails, but all I found are non-reliable brokers. Assuming you probably have to.
So hold on. So here's you do not want to be renting email lists to send out the 4-part series on your behalf. Ixnay. It's your job. You can use dedicated emails as a way to build your own list. And then you run the 4-part sequence. You do not pay somebody to run a 4-part sequence on your behalf. You use that to build your list and then run the sequence.
Di Desisto says, I chose the Facebook page campaign plan from John Tarr. I'm running like campaigns to a new I love ... Facebook page and then group. And it's going well enough. It was helpful for me because it stopped me from using Facebook as a brand page and now as a community. Very cool. Okay, good feedback. Ryan and Tyler, what technique do you recommend to get audience from ManyChat to an email list? I'll be covering that in more detail next week. But just think what is valuable to your audience? What do they want that you can provide them that solves a pain point they're currently experiencing, and you make it available to them. And the delivery method is through email, so it requires them to give their email address so you can send it to their inbox.
Well, Tyler, would you share a little bit about like the strategy that you're using for that?
Yeah, I mean, there's two different things that we're experimenting with. One is super new, but one, you could send traffic directly from ManyChat, like say, hey, I have a PDF document that's going to teach you how to get your kids to fall asleep before, like as the sun's going down. Do you want it? Click the button. They click the button, and it could take them to a squeeze page where they can opt in by entering their email address. Or you can do a connection from ManyChat to your email service provider. So say you use ActiveCampaign, you can use you can create a custom field inside of ManyChat where they can literally just leave their email address inside of ManyChat without having to go to any squeeze page or any external page at all. They'll leave their email in ManyChat, and ManyChat will connect with your email service provider and connect and send that email to a specific list. Now that requires you to have a Zapier plugin tool. It's pretty easy to learn. It does take like some dedicated time to, if you go back to that website, youtube.com, you can learn how to connect ManyChat with email service providers using Zapier, so people don't have to go to an external page.
Meaning like it can actually have their email like baked into ManyChat, and they'll basically like when they give it to you, it automatically connects to your email. So like your email provider, is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you going to walk people through some of that next week from a strategy perspective?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you can once people put their email in ManyChat and they get converted to your list, then you can have automated email sequences that follow up on that list upon subscription. So it's just another way of simply collecting leads. Mercedes, I tried to get members for my Facebook group for parenting. I asked a specialist in Facebook to find me members, but I didn't get the results I expected. How can I get members every day? I'm going to launch a new product and I want it to be ready for the audience.
I don't follow. How can I? So is the question, how do I get Facebook group members?
Yeah. How do you get new members inside of your Facebook group?
Advertise the group, or go to other pieces of your audience, release the Facebook group to them. For example, if I email out to my list that I'm doing a new Facebook group and the Facebook group is really valuable, people are going to start inviting each other to the group. If you remember what John Tarr talked about, he has like, it's all organic shares that are bringing in people, and he'll advertise to an audience, like build it up on a Facebook page, launch the group to the Facebook page. And if it's actually valuable in there, then people will start inviting other people into the group. So there's one source of an audience. You take the subgroup, get them into the sub like audience, put them into a Facebook group, engage that audience. And if it's actually valuable, they'll start bringing people in. That's how you get members every day. Mm-hmm. If you're asking other people to bring you, like you're asking specialists to bring you members, you're toast. Like, is there value in the group? And where is it that you are bringing people into the group so that they start bringing other people? Guys, look, there is no tactic. Like there is no magic formula for having raving fans. Like you get raving fans by actually providing value to people's lives. And when you do that and you have a way to engage with them on an email list, in a Facebook group, as a Facebook following, on a ManyChat messenger list, and then there are tactics for taking them from one place to become buyers. And that's things like running a 4-part email series. That's like doing a Facebook group launch, releasing your product. That's taking them from a group or a page in a ManyChat and engaging them to warm them up for your product. That's getting influencers to talk about you so that there's momentum. That's not just where you rank on Amazon. So like I wish I could go to the Raving Fan store and buy Raving Fans. I can't, but I can go to the traffic store and buy traffic. I can go to the traffic store and pay Facebook to send me traffic of ideal people, but I've got to have the goods in order to turn them into Raving Fans.
Yeah. Yeah. Mercedes, my question to you would be, why would somebody want to join your group? What's the result they're going there for? Or what pain points are you solving that they're experiencing today? And what result are you helping them get to that they would have to go to your group in order to get? So it's just things to think about. Why would someone actually want to be in that group? Lindsay Hoyt wants to know, should a Facebook group always be a closed group or can it be public?
It can totally be public. I know plenty of people who do public groups and do really well with them. It's never been my game, but I know plenty of people. I think John does that with his crypto group. It's a public group, so it's totally fine to do it public.
I would say if you're doing it public, though, you're missing out on the chance to collect ManyChat leads in order to drive them into the group. And you'll get a more specific demographic if people have to answer questions in order to join the group.
That's true.
Anybody can join the group.
That's true.
Franklin, thanks for sharing. Franklin just shared another link for another rented list site. That's cool. We're at the bottom of our comments. Anybody have any more questions, or do you want to share any feedback on this group?
Yeah. So let's pivot here. Franklin asked about ManyChat for Shopify. I mean, if you have an audience, it's going to fit for wherever you're taking orders. Shopify, Amazon. It's going to fit no matter where you're sending the traffic. Where I would like feedback is like, what would you like? We're halfway through our planned training. What would you like to see in the second half, or what would you like to see buttoned up that would make this even more valuable for you? Seth talks about startup steps from ground zero. So, okay, so Seth, like I would love, if you want like the step-by-step, then we're probably talking about, you're going to be running advertising to something and then getting them into another place. And we'll talk about that further if that's something that would be helpful to the group. But the like where your audience hangs out is going to be different than somebody else's space. So if what I think I hear you saying is you would like step-by-step on, is it on each strategy or like a bigger formula? If you give me that, we could totally consider something like that. Cool. Someone says a case study with one of us. That'd be interesting. Cool. That'd be fun. So for those of you who are actively testing some of this stuff, that would be really fun to do a case study with one of you. Big picture, 1 million in sales in year one, 4 or 5 products. How do you get to 20 or 30 sales per day? You do it by launching out of the gate, getting them to leave reviews, and repeating the process. So there's a couple things that we need from y'all. Feedback on like what have you really liked that you'd like to see more of, like real talk, saying I want a step-by-step action plan doesn't help us give you direction. But if it's I thought the strategy on Facebook groups was really helpful, what I'd be looking for is a strategy on how to take a Facebook page and launch a group to it and then convert them into customers. That's something that we could systemize and consider putting together. And so we need that type of feedback from you to make this super actionable for you so that you can start implementing it into your business and into your strategies. And then the other thing is like, here are my gaps. Like, here's what's working for me and here are my gaps. It's difficult. Like, if I were just hanging out with friends and I wasn't I wasn't in my head about like, is everybody finding this valuable? If I were just hanging out with friends, I'd be like, there's plenty of people that we give strategies to, and I could literally be like, here's how it's working. They'd be like, that's great. How do I do it step by step? Like, I feel like I'm telling you right now. So it would be helpful if you brought to the table, like, here's what we're trying, here's what's not working, so that we could help bridge that gap. But sometimes it can be like when we talk about how do we make the profitable product launch product even better, like when we're having those meetings, the team, it's hard to be like, to not know what you're testing so that we can refine it from there. And that's the purpose of this being a test group. Like, you tell us what you're testing based on the strategies we're giving you, and then we can refine it. Or if there's a gap that's missing that's preventing you from testing something, we can put those pieces together. Okay, Tyler, anything else you want to hit?
Otto gave us some good feedback. Said they're doing ManyChat, linking to the group. That's really working on a daily basis. I'm making the audience talk between them, and it's engaging pretty much the whole group.
Nice. That's great.
Yaya, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but Yaya, no, I'm not. She's going to be starting a Facebook group for everybody. So thank you for that. That's awesome. Y'all can connect with each other, or that'd be great. Jeremy, how much product should we buy before we do a product launch on the scale that you are talking about? Is it okay?
As much as possible.
And it's not a good idea to run out of product, right?
It is a very, very, very bad thing to run out of product. Very, 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 very bad.
Cool.
Lindsay knows what it's like. It's bad, 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 bad. And honestly, like, when you do half of what we've talked about, half of it, your biggest problem is going to be staying in inventory. Because this Tish works. And if you do an ounce of it, you get such a lift. Jeremy, buy at least, if you can afford 1,000, do 1,000. Like, as much as you can afford. If you're confident in your product, go as deep as possible. Here, so this is a great question. Question on the group being really engaging, but you don't want to burn the attention of the group. Like, at the end of the day, when you create an ask, you're cashing in chips. Part of the process. So what I like to do is pull them from one resource to another resource. It's like you give them the option to opt in to something else where the purpose is the position of the product. So for example, in the group, you can talk about the product, post pictures of the product. And then the call to action is like, if you guys want this, here's a link to send me a message, and I'll add you to the pre-launch list. And that would be like a link to Messenger, or a link to a squeeze page, or another way to take the conversation more private off of the Facebook group. So that's one way to do it, is take them from the public setting to a more private setting. We could also do it specifically, like if we have a Facebook page and we're talking about the product, we take them into the group that is basically the pre-launch group, and we're engaging with them there. So it's like getting the sub list to raise their hand and say they want it is a way to not cash in all your chips. With that in mind, I cash my chips in a lot. Like, the point of this is to have a profitable launch. So I will send a 4-part email series to the entire list, knowing that I'm cashing in some chips. I will post about my product publicly, knowing that I'm going to cash in some chips. So there is some like collateral damage every time you do an ask. But if you want to minimize them, take them from the big group, put them onto a smaller list, and then do the ask there. Because they've already raised their hand and said, yes, I want it. But like if you are doing engaging things in the launch process, like if your group is super engaged and you have like, hey, everybody, really excited to announce that we're doing our like a new yoga mat, and I just wanted to show you a picture of it before it goes, before it arrives at Amazon, that's actually engaging. Like that's really interesting to people. Like there's no ask to that. It's like, I just wanted to share this with you. And then like if you're documenting the process, like, hey, I just got the first iteration of my yoga mat. You're sharing with the group. People follow along with that, like a lot. So if you are documenting rather than asking, that increases engagement. And then when you go for the ask, it's actually really easy. It's really easy to it's basically one cash in chips rather than a big promotion, because the whole thing has been a promotion. Does that make sense when I say that? Give me thumbs up or thumbs down if that's making sense. And if it's thumbs down, I'll rephrase. Your thumbs are not working. Looking for thumbs. Okay, Jeremy says, Jeremy is the only one with a thumb, and he says sort of. So let's talk about this a little bit. If you've got a Facebook group and it's super engaged, and the question is, how do I do a launch without burning the attention of that Facebook group? DS, how do I show thumbs? Like this. How do I do a launch inside a Facebook group without burning the attention of the Facebook group? The way you do that is by documenting the product launch in front of people without trying to ask for anything. It's, hey everyone, I'm really excited as leader of this group. I'm launching such and such a brand. It's, hey, I know all of us are into yoga. I wanted to share the yoga mat that I'm releasing. It's going to be live on Amazon soon. Just wanted to share. All these people, yeah, oh, so cool. Tell me about it. When you are going to launch, be like, guys, so excited. My yoga mat's going live. Thanks for all your support. By the way, if you want to be first in line, here's a link to shoot me a message and get on the launch list. Like these are all like engaging ways to launch the product without necessarily saying the first 500 people will save this amount. There's no direct ask to it. You're part of a community and people will rally behind you to support you. So doing that is a way to increase engagement without making a direct ask. And then when the product goes live, you have one ask. Jeremy, does this make more sense with your thumb? Awesome. Ty, you want to do one more?
Yeah, sure. We just got a really long one.
Can you summarize it in the form of a question for me?
Yeah. So basically, Al, all right, so Al is starting a supplement company. He was recommended to be an influencer for his brand, but he's not very good to look at, like you. So he's wondering if that would really work. He wants to know if he should make a house of brands like Procter & Gamble, where every product has its own brand, or do you think you should create a branded house like Nature's Made or Quest, where all products and name?
So if it's all supplements, do it under one brand. If you have lines of products that are specific to a specific audience, do it under individual brands. The question is, who's the person? And you don't cross over people and brands unless the person is everyone who takes supplements, which Nature Made is. Nature Made is everyone who takes supplements is our customer. So they have one brand, 100 products underneath it. If you've got a line of products that's for athletes and you've got a line of products that is for moms, then those are two different brands under a house of brands or brand house.
Cool.
Well, so we continue to desire your feedback on what's working well for you. Like it's hard for us to continue to customize this for you if we don't know what you're testing and what's working for you. So please do continue to give us that feedback. And as we finish out kind of our planned course, we'll then, yes, Jennifer, please email us that feedback. And as we like kind of complete it and we get more of your feedback, we can go back and complete the individual pieces that are not clear. So we thrive on your feedback. We want your feedback. This is a test group, not just a teaching group, because we need your feedback to be able to make this super, super valuable for you.
Right. I just got a private message from Drew about a patent claim. His first product got taken down due to a patent claim. And so he's starting on the next product. He's wondering if you've ever had to deal with this before.
I would recommend posting that in one of the public Amazon Facebook groups that exists all over the place. There's a bunch of Amazon seller stuff, and I would recommend getting that feedback and that advice there.
Nice.
Great. Thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. It's good to see all you good-looking people. Looking forward to hearing more of your feedback as we go. And we still have some exciting stuff to share with you on ManyChat, on Kickstarter, on using video marketing, on using influencers. There's still more coming. So we're excited to share this with you and excited to see what you guys do and how you move with all this stuff. It's good to see y'all. Tyler, take us home.
Cool. So we just got a message. The Facebook group that you're all looking for is called PPL Blueprint. Look that up on Facebook. You guys can all get in it together, talk, help strategize, and we will see you next week where we'll be talking about ManyChat, building your list, driving traffic, and building raving fans.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Talk to you then.
Bye.